What's going on, y'all? This is BoxingWave. I'm here to do a prediction video for the Maidana Floyd Mayweather rematch. Now, regardless of who you thought won the first fight, okay, the fight was pretty close. It's really, you can only judge it based on the kind of fighting that you like. Both fighters fight totally different, okay. Marcos Maidana was obviously the more aggressive fighter between the two. Floyd was the more efficient, the more accurate puncher between the two, okay? So if you like Marcos Maidana's style, you're going to think he won the fight. If you like Floyd's style, then you're going to think he won the fight, all right? It was a pretty competitive, close fight to me. Now, this is what Marcos Maidana needs to do to win this fight, all right? He needs to do exactly what he did in the first fight, okay? There's several things that I think he needs to change, but the reason why the judges probably scored it for Floyd, it was such a wide decision, you know, as far as the other two judges. There was one judge that scored it a draw, and there was other two that gave it to Floyd, and it was pretty wide, okay? Marcos Maidana needs to throw that jab, all right? That jab was very important, especially when they were in the center of the ring, all right? Floyd controlled the fight in the center of the ring. Okay, when it was in the center of the ring, it was all Floyd. When it was against the ropes, Maidana was, I want to say that he controlled the fight, but it was going at his pace when he had Floyd against the ropes, okay? There was times where Floyd was against the ropes and he won the trade in between the two fighters, okay? And then there was times where Marcos Maidana was smothering Floyd to a point where Floyd couldn't get any shots off. So Marcos Maidana needs to throw that jab, because that jab is the one thing that pushed Floyd back against the ropes, and that jab is the one thing that landed against Floyd while they were in the center of the ring, all right? It was a few times where he popped Floyd's head back using that jab. It's a pretty good jab. He actually improved since training with Robert Garcia with that jab, so he definitely needs to use it, okay? He needs to get Floyd against the ropes. Like I said, he needs to again be the aggressive. He needs to throw a high volume of punches again, okay? I hope he's training. We know there are several changes with the camp. You got Alex Ariza. He's gone this time. He's not going to be the strength and conditioning coach for Marcos Maidana. I think he did a good job. There's going to be changes now, so I hope he takes this fight as seriously as he did as far as his training camp is concerned. All right, so, you know, and then you see the history of these fights. Floyd only has been in one rematch in his career, and that one rematch was against Jose Luis Castillo. Very close fight as well, okay? Like, it was probably one of his top 3 toughest fights in Floyd's career. The only difference in it is the rematch. Luis Castillo he wasn't really as effective as he was, all right? It was a clear win for Floyd Mayweather, all right, compared to the first fight. And then at the same time, there's a lot of fighters that came and they were undefeated. Not saying Marcos Maidana was undefeated, but there was guys that came and they just weren't the same after they fought Floyd, you know? They just didn't seem, they were good leading up to the Floyd Mayweather fight, and then after the Floyd Mayweather loss, they kind of disappeared, all right? Several fighters. So hopefully we'll see Chino still as hungry as he was in the first fight, all right? Another thing Marcos Maidana needs to do this time, he needs, even though I said he needs to keep a higher volume of punches, this time I think he needs to try to be a little bit more efficient, okay? I know he needs to be aggressive, but when he has Floyd against the ropes, he needs to pick his shots a little bit better. There has been aggressive fighters that gave Floyd some problems, okay? Emmanuel Augustus was a fighter that was aggressive with Floyd, but he was able to land a lot better, a lot more cleaner against Floyd in that fight, okay? Jose Luis Castillo, again, he was a lot more efficient, a lot more accurate with his punches, okay? These guys just didn't throw as many punches as Marcos Maidana did. Marcos Maidana was just smothering Floyd and throwing and wailing, and he would throw 8, 9 punches in a row and only land 1 or 2, okay? And even sometimes, at times, one or two shots that he did land, they didn't even land clean. So this time around, I think he should time himself a little bit better. Okay, when you're throwing a shot, take that extra second to think of what would be the best punch in the situation. It's another thing he needs to do. When he's throwing, when he has Floyd in the corner, he needs to throw that uppercut. That uppercut was one of the best shots that he landed. Not the overhand right, that rabbit punch that he kept throwing, not the left hook, you know, not even the shots to the body, but that uppercut. He needs to throw that in there, especially when he can't catch Floyd and Floyd is doing all of that upper body movement. He needs to catch Floyd with that uppercut, okay, because he did land that very clean in the fight several times, all right? So pretty much Maidana has to stick to the same game plan. There's no other way he's going to win, because if he tries to outbox Floyd and keeps it in the center, Floyd is going to dominate him, all right? Now, as far as what Floyd needs to do, Floyd needs to use more lateral movement, all right? Instead of backing up against the ropes, we all know Floyd fights well off the ropes. We all know that Floyd is more efficient. He's more accurate. He's great at the body shots. He's great at fighting on the inside. Sometimes he usually voluntarily moves back to the ropes. Okay, we know why he does it. We never see Floyd tired. We never see him have stamina issues. You know why? Because when he's backed against the ropes, against a furious, aggressive fighter like Marcos Maidana, he's usually taking a break. Okay, these are the moments where he's not doing much foot movement. Okay, when he's against the ropes, all he's doing is avoiding punches, using his defense. He'll throw a shot here and there, and usually they land because he's taking his time and he's planning on the right punches. He has more leverage on his punches when he's against the ropes. His feet are planted, so he's able to come up and counter and land shots to the body easily when he's backed against the ropes. That's why he does it, okay? And he's not exerting as much energy as he would if he was in the center of the ring. But this is the moment where Marcos Maidana was controlling the fight, when he actually had Floyd against the ropes. So in my opinion, Floyd looked great in the center of the ring. When the center of the ring, I mean, he would get hit with a few jabs here and there, but he, for the most part, he controlled the fight in the center of the ring. Okay, so that's where he needs to keep the fight. Use that lateral movement and move to the side instead of moving straight back, because you move straight back, Maidana's going to throw that jab and walk in and lean, and Floyd's going to be forced back into the ropes again. And that's when Marcos Maidana is going to be throwing those rabbit punches and all of those, you know, aggressive shots. So that's what Floyd needs to do different in this time. I mean, other than that, Floyd has already fought 12 rounds with Maidana, okay? We know Floyd, at times, he have a slow start because he's trying to figure out the angles. He's trying to figure out the distance and everything. So this is why a lot of those early rounds, I thought Floyd lost early, okay? I thought the first half of the fight, Floyd lost the fight, okay? But on the second half, Maidana was a lot, you know, he wasn't as aggressive. He was a lot more tired in the second half of the fight, okay? So basically, like I said, a few things you got to take a look at this time. Tony Weeks is not going to be the referee this time. So the next referee might not allow a few things. He's not going to allow he might not allow the rabbit punches that was thrown behind the back of Floyd's head and the back of his neck, okay? He might not allow that, all right, without warning or taking points. He might not allow the low blows that Marcos Maidana threw, and he got a pass every time, okay? Tony Weeks allowed a lot. He might not allow the elbows or the forearm push-off that Floyd was doing, okay, to create some space between the two of them. You know, Floyd likes to have a little bit of space, even though he's good at fighting on the inside. All right, so there could be a lot of different points in this fight, as far as, like, I think it's going to go a lot more differently, you know, depending on who the referee is. All right, if the referee allows them to fight just like Tony Weeks did in the first fight, then it's probably going to be the same thing. I just hope Marcos Maidana takes the fight just as serious as he did. I mean, when you fight Floyd for the first time and you're coming off of a big win against Adrian Broner, where you were the underdog, where it was an upset, all right, you're coming off of that and you go to fight Floyd. You're hungry, you know, you want to win. But once you get that first big payday like you did against fighting Floyd, and, you know, you come back and you have a different training camp because your strength and conditioning coach is not there. Hopefully he comes back hungry and doesn't come back out of shape. We know that Robert Garcia wanted him to lose more weight and come in on fight night weighing a lot less than he did on fight night. I believe he was weighing about 165 on fight night against Floyd in the first fight. I think he said he wants him to come in around like 153. I don't know if that's possible, and if it is possible, is he going to be weight drained? You know, is it going to be better for Marcos Maidana, or should he gain the weight? Who knows? Okay. Thing with Floyd is still a dangerous fight because you never know. Those rapid punches and no overhands rights, if one lands clean to the temple with Floyd, it's always a dangerous fight. You never know. If one of them lands clean enough, it can possibly knock out even Floyd. You just never know. I mean, a lot of them did land clean, and Floyd never seemed to be hurt during the fight, but you never know this time. You know, what if Marcos Maidana does land one that's clean enough, that has enough power to it to knock him out? It's still a very tough fight for Floyd, so he can't go in there overconfident, knowing that he fought him and beat him already and what he needs to do. We're going to see Floyd at a faster start this time around because he has fought him again. I expect him to start taking over and keeping the fight in the center of the ring, because that's where he had his most success at this time around. I just think Marcos Maidana needs to be a little bit more efficient. I don't think he will be, though. I doubt he will be, because Marcos Maidana is going to fight the same way that he's used to fighting, all right? But what he does need to do, that if Floyd decides to start using more lateral movement and he can't get Floyd against the ropes like he did the same way in the first fight, he needs to use that jab when the fight is in the center of the ring, okay? He's going to get countered at times, but that was his best punch in the center of the ring. And then when he has him against the ropes, use the left hook, use the overhand right again, but throw that uppercut more, because that uppercut was one of the few shots that land clean almost every time he threw it, all right? So that's my prediction video. I think I'm going for Floyd in the decision again, okay? I think Floyd is going to look better this time around. I think Marcos Maidana still has a chance. His best chance is landing one clean shot, which can knock Floyd Mayweather out. But this time around, I think Floyd is going to look better this time. I think he's going to try to force the fight to stay in the center of the ring. Okay, he's going to have a good start this time compared to what Marcos Maidana did. And I think the ref, whoever the ref is going to take points if Marcos Maidana tries to throw too many low blows or tries to throw too many rabbit punches, all right? If a ref takes away that use of the rabbit punch, then that could change Marcos Maidana's whole game plan, because we know that he's used to throwing that punch over and over again in each fight, all right? So if the ref is more involved this time, it will be even more into Floyd Mayweather's favor for the win, all right? So that's my prediction. I have Floyd Mayweather by decision. And make sure you subscribe to BoxingWave, and y'all have a good day.